Hello guys, it is still July 1st, 2015, Wednesday, Comic Book Day. This is part 2 of this week's reviews. In the last video I covered all the DC books I picked up this week, and in this video I am covering the Marvel books I picked up this week, starting with The Amazing Spider-Man, issue 19.1, issue 4 of the Spiral story arc, which involves Spider-Man and this new vigilante, Wraith, who is Yuri Watanabe, a former cop, kind of battling the crime families of New York City, as a lot of them are kind of being kind of falling apart. So my main thing, the first thing I really have to say about this story is that I think it's gone on a bit too long. This is a story about two things. On the surface, it's about Spider-Man and Wraith fighting all these crime bosses. So we have had Black Cat, Tombstone, Hammerhead, Mr. Negative, and now the Ringmaster. And then just below the surface, this book is about Yuri Watanabe, who is like Yuri's turn to darkness sort of thing. Her slow descent into moving from kind of vigilante hero to just vigilante murderer person who takes the law into their own hands. And that arc does not... I think this is going to be like I think the next issue is the finale, but I don't think we needed that long to tell the story. It's gotten to the point where I kind of forgot how this story began, which is way too long for what is a side story, what is not even a main story arc for Spider-Man. So that's like the first thing I want to say. But as it is, the book is it's not bad. Like, the actual single issue is not bad. First, I still really enjoy the art. I just enjoy how bright Spider-Man's costume is, how bright the Wraith's costume is. I just enjoy a lot of the art in this book. A lot. Even Mr. Negative, who is black and white, stands out from the rest of the scenery. And, yeah, it's just a very fun book to look at. You have this scene over here, really pretty at night. Yeah, again, this issue covers a lot of what happened in the last few issues. It's Spider-Man worrying about Yuri, as it seems like she's losing control of her urge to kill. We get a bit more backroom dealing with Mr. Negative. We find out Mr. Negative's whole plan through this whole thing is to consolidate power over the crime families now that a lot of the leaders are out. So his plan in giving Yuri all the information he's been giving her is so that she can take a lot of the other crime family heads out of the equation. In this, he tries to make a deal with Ringmaster, who's one of the last crime bosses left in the city, but Ringmaster turns him down. We then see Yuri and Spider-Man stop one of Ringmaster's plans at the tech convention in New York City, which again plays right into Mr. Negative's hand, as if the heroes take out Ringmaster, if they stop this crime, that just means that Mr. Negative has an open seat to consolidate all the crime families under himself. And so, yeah, that's basically what happens in the story. We get a bit of fallout from the last issue, where Spider-Man thinks that Yuri shot Tombstone, and Yuri says that she didn't. Spider-Man believes her. We then get Mr. Negative, Mr. Negative's meeting with Ringmaster, where he basically lays out his whole plan. Also meeting with Yuri, and says, "I know who you are, Yuri, because you've made it really obvious that Yuri and the Wraith are the same person." And then we get a fight at the convention center against Ringmaster. And again, it's a really good fight. It's pretty, it's well done. I can tell everything that's going on. Spider-Man's banter is up to snuff. So I can't really complain about that. It's just that the main story is repeating itself at this point. It's Spider-Man and Wraith stop a crime. Will Wraith will Wraith go over the edge and kill someone? And that's been going on at least 3 issues now. And at this point, it's just boring. It's just get to the end already, make your point, or stop telling the story. You know, either make your point or stop repeating yourself. So that's where I am with this book. Don't know. Again, if you're stuck, like, it's not a bad idea. It's just been stretched too thin at this point. So I do want to see how it ends. I just wish it didn't take so long to get there. Next up, we have The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, issue 7. Again, another book I am just enjoying the ever-loving loving out of. It is just amazing. This book continues the plot of the girl squirrel, the mysterious squirrel superhero who is showing up stealing Squirrel Girl's thunder. And we also, that's the main kind of story thread we have. We begin with Doreen and her friend. What's her friend's name? Doreen and Nancy sneaking into their databases class, where everybody is a little on edge. Everybody is just really angry, and a riot breaks out. When does the riot happen? Here's the riot. So yeah, a riot breaks out in their college class. Chipmunk Hunk and Koi Boy show up to try and quell the riot, but they're not that good at it. That's the dog. Squirrel Girl and Nancy end up intervening and discover that this might all be the cause of Girl Squirrel, who is in reality Ratatosker. I have no idea how to pronounce that. Neither does Squirrel Girl later in the book. But Ratatosker, who is an actual, you can Wikipedia this for yourself. This is actually taken straight from Wikipedia, pretty much. Ratatosker is a Norse squirrel trickster demon. And so Squirrel Girl is led to believe that Girl Squirrel is actually Ratatosker, Ratatat, who is making people angry for her own personal benefit. So what do they do but decide to call Thor, who is also Norse and mythological and might be able to shed some light on the situation and possibly help. So they first try to go to Avengers Towers, but Ratatasker already got to the Avengers, and they're all infighting and bickering with themselves, which means that Squirrel Girl has to beat them all up in like 26 seconds, sorry, it says right there. She knocks out all the Avengers, and it's great because Squirrel Girl is legendarily mimetically powerful for some reason, and can do that, and can just knock out all the Avengers. So then they decide to just call Thor, but Thor and, well, both Thors, Odinson and Thor, New Thor, are busy quelling their own mob that is sprung up in a diner over pancakes versus waffles, and this guy jumps in with French toast. And so they are a bit busy for themselves. And that is basically the setup of this book, is Squirrel Girl, Koi Boy, Chipmunk Hunk, Nancy have to join with Thor in order to stop a Norse squirrel demon. And it's just hilarious. Everything in this book works comedically. And the art, again, just really bright, colorful, bubbly, happy, fun art. Even the covers, like, really great. We have all the heroes attacking Squirrel Girl. But yeah, I really don't want to spoil any more of this book. You have the basic setup. Full of gags, full of just like cool little funny things that it does. Squirrel Girl, just the character of Doreen Green, is just incredibly lovable. So optimistic and bubbly, and just like everything. You want everything to work out for her. So Squirrel Girl, one of the most enjoyable books coming out every month. I wholeheartedly recommend it. Next up with Marvel, we have A-Force, the all-female superhero team on Battleworld, part of the Secret Wars event here. So in the last issue, we left off with Miss America, who was part of the A-Force, being exiled beyond the wall, or beyond the shield, rather, as they're calling it in Battleworld. And She-Hulk and the rest of the A-Force trying to discover if there's any way to get her back, and also trying to discover where the monster from the last issue came from, how that breached the walls, and trying to stop that from happening again. So in the last issue, they ask help from the Submariners to see if there was any sort of breach in the wall. And in this issue, the Submariners find a portal to presumably other parts of Battleworld. We have, let's see, what can I make out here? We have what looks like a World War Hulk on the bottom here. We have the Chip Kid on this side. Sorry, we have the Chip Kid Avengers versus X-Men. I have no idea what that's supposed to be. Angela, maybe? I don't know. But yeah, the Namors discover this portal to the other worlds. And then the portal closes, leaving that thread kind of unsolved for the most part. We're then reintroduced to Nico, who found this mysterious girl at the end of the last issue, brings her home, shows her around. The other girl does not talk at all, it seems, although she does understand what's going on. What else is happening? Oh, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, another portal appears and a Sentinel drops down from it. So the rest of the issue is the A-Force versus the Sentinel, and it is another great fight. Just like last issue, you have the whole team going up against this huge threat. Each of them gets a chance to show off what they do, including the new girl, who makes portals. So people piecing together, maybe she's the cause of all of these weird portals popping out and all these weird monsters appearing everywhere. Which of course divides the team on whether or not they should keep her or send her over to Doom and let Doom do what he will with her. There seems to be a divide between She-Hulk and Medusa, with She-Hulk being on the let's save her side and Medusa being on the let's follow the law and give her to Doom side. And the book ends with She-Hulk, Captain Marvel, and Dazzler going through one of the portals that the girl creates into a post-apocalypse. I'm thinking it's where the same portal the Sentinel came through, so I think it's Days of Future Past. A Days of Future Past part of Battleworld. We will see, I'm sure, in the future. But yeah, I'm really liking this book. I really like the camaraderie between all the female heroes. I like seeing them kind of, talk and bicker with each other, but also fight together as a team and fight really well as a team. Like, it's clear that no matter what personal issues these characters have, they are fully dedicated to protecting the people of Arcadia. And so you see them in fight, super coordinated, backing each other up, working together, and just being really effective against these huge threats. But yeah, as for other things, they don't really take a huge advantage of this ensemble cast. A lot of the ensemble cast only shows up during the fight scene, and I'm sure as the book goes on, as we enter further issues, each character will be fleshed out a bit more. But that's like the only problem I have with the book, is some of the characters aren't being used enough yet, but I'm sure we will get to them. As for the characters that are used, they do have really strong personalities that each shine through. We have She-Hulk as the one who always wants to do good, even if that runs up against the law sometimes. Medusa as the completely law-abiding good, wants to do what's best for the people by following the law. Nico as someone who just wants to be loved, I guess. She's not desperate, but she just lost someone close to her, and she's trying to heal, and she's kind of doing that with the new girl, helping the new girl out and adjust. Kind of a replacement sister sort of thing going on there, maybe. And yeah, that's, again, just really enjoying this book. Neat ensemble book. Great that we finally have an all-female like a major Avengers type team. So yeah, I'm liking this one quite a lot. Next up, we have Ultimate End, issue number 3, another book where, just plot-wise, easily summed up. We start with the Avengers and the Ultimates interrogating Bruce Banner after he had another battle with another Hulk in the middle of the jail. What's it called? I forget what the jail is called, but after having a fight in the middle of the maximum security prison, all the Avengers kind of interrogate Bruce Banner. After Bruce Banner tells them what happened and how he got to the prison and how the fight broke out, Nick Fury wants to keep him imprisoned in the Triskeleton, while Triskelion, I forget what it's called, while Earth 616 Tony Stark wants to rescue Banner, wants to say, Banner is a good guy, he's our friend, we have to set him free, what you're doing isn't right. So we have kind of a thing between Ultimate Fury and 616 Tony Stark. We then get, as part of the interrogation, we have the backstory of what happened, where Ultimate Bruce Banner and 616 Bruce Banner meet up and get into a fight, which means both of them Hulk out, and that explains where we are at the end of the last issue with the fight in the jail. The Bruce Banner they have interrogated, by the way, is 616 Banner, not Ultimate Banner. What then? What happens then? Yeah, and then we have the Punishers. We have 2 Punishers enter, 1 Punisher leaves, and then the surviving Punisher decides to go on a killing spree, thinking that is the only way of solving this problem, which that's pretty much where the issue ends. I'm not going to spoil exactly how it ends because, well, issue-based storytelling, I don't want to spoil too much. You'll find out next month when I review issue 4. Or is it 2 weeks? I forget. Anyway, you'll find out. I'm not going to tell you right now. I'm going to give you a chance to read it for yourself because I liked this book. Again, not much happens plot-wise, but you get a lot of character stuff going on. This book is all about people arguing with each other over ideals, what is right, what to do in these dire situations, these situations where nothing really makes any sense anymore. Out of all of the Battleworld pieces of Battleworld that I've been reading, this one seems like the most kind of important next to the main Secret Wars story. This is the one where we have like designated Ultimate heroes and designated 616 heroes that still, even if they don't remember how they got there, they remember that they are from separate places originally. And just seeing a doppelganger kind of shakes things up a bit and makes you realize maybe something's wrong. So that's where we are. Good book, good characterization. Seeing just the minor differences between the Ultimate characters and the 616 characters. Again, really interesting seeing these. They are essentially the same people, but have had these minor differences, and how those minor differences create these huge fissions between, each iteration of the Punisher, each iteration of the Hulk. And it's interesting to see how all those play out when they're all beating together all at once. And the last Marvel book this week is Secret Wars number 4, halfway through the Secret Wars story. And where are we? We start with the Cabal beating up the Thors. The Cabal, of course, being like the most evil of the evil to have survived the incursion event, including Thanos over here. And as the Thors are getting trounced by the Cabal, one of the Thors asks for help, and we will see that play out later. Meanwhile, Doctor Strange kind of briefs the surviving 616 heroes and Miles Morales on how Battleworld came to be. And we discover that Doom did in fact create Battleworld. He harnessed the power from the Beyonders and saved everything he could from both the Ultimate and the 616 universes by cobbling them all together into Battleworld. Steven says that, Doom is not the best god. but he's the only one who could have made things survive as long as they've survived. And so he has a begrudging respect for Doom, and even tries to convince the other heroes that there are parts of their world still left to go back to. Then Steven gets the message from the Thor asking for help, and decides to bring the surviving heroes to the fight against the Cabal. Meanwhile, Dr. Doom, who also got a message from Thor, spies and peeks on the fight between the heroes and the Cabal when he notices Franklin Richards, Mr. Fantastic, his old rival, and after seeing Richards decides, okay, I should finally jump into this. And then we get what happens. We see what happens when Doom, who is God on this world, intervenes. And he drops some God bombs. As soon as he arrives on the scene, he makes everything explode. And then he has a little fight with Cyclops, who has the Phoenix Force. Cyclops thinks he's more powerful than Doom, and he is quickly proved wrong. Then we have a bit of an argument, and then we have, Doom kill Cyclops, and then Strange sends all the other heroes away, and we get a small fight between Doctor Doom and Doctor Strange, and I'm not going to spoil how that one ends, but it ends in a way that not immediately predictable. I'll say that. It's kind of a shocking ending, and also shocking just how quick it happens, how it's done without any pomp or circumstance. It's just that this is how the fight ends. And also setup of we get good insight into what's Doom's motivation at this point. Now that Doom knows there are other survivors from his world, what does he want to do with them? Which is interesting, that he has this pretty much an omnipotent person. What does he decide to do with these people who knows who he was before he was God? So yeah, I'm really liking where this story is going. It's just really interesting stuff, really well done stuff, and a lot of it is, again, like character study. It's what does Doom do now that he's won? It really is a very Doom-centric story, and it's interesting just to see how he works. How, even though has all this power, what does he do? He doesn't just crush all the villains immediately. He doesn't crush all the heroes immediately. Why not? How does Doom work in this case? And it's an incredible story with incredible characterization, incredible dialogue. You have all these characters in the presence of Doom, knowing that they're talking to a god, and a lot of them, they don't revere him. Like they know that he could kill them by snapping his fingers, and they still stand up to him in a way. And so it's also interesting to see just how that all plays out. Secret Wars, really, really fun event. I recommend picking it all up and reading to this point, because I don't think you will be disappointed. And that is it for the Marvel books this week. If you haven't seen the DC review, that is part 1 of this. If you're looking for the independent books I picked up this week, that will be in the next video. And if you're at all interested, I'm also planning a review of Batman Arkham Knight, which will go up as soon as I finish it. It shouldn't be that long. It should be up by Saturday or Friday. So, yes, once again, thank you for watching. Any comments, questions, or concerns, feel free to leave them below. If you want more of these every week, just subscribe. It makes me feel a lot better about doing these. And yeah, I hope you will join me next time for more comic book reviews.